yoga. The true meaning of yoga, I won't even say true meaning, I would just say an interpretation of yoga through the non-dual lens or Advaitic lens. We all have heard this, that yoga comes from the word yuj, which is union, right? And union with whom, of whom, with what? Those are the questions, which arise, because when we think of yoga, we usually see someone in a pose, a posture, asana. So the best text whenever we have to talk about yoga across the world is Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and that's why we are referring to that text, because that text was not written like a poetry, it was written like a sutra. Sutra means sort of formula. So there are 195 sutras in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and out of 195 only 3 mentions about yoga asanas. So you can imagine, yoga is not really asanas. Asanas prepare us for yoga, but it isn't the asanas. Then what is yoga? The question is that, right? And if we were to experience yoga today, right here amongst all of us in next 30 minutes, what do we have to do? Or genuinely, if we were to go and ask Sage Patanjali, he might say, it's not about doing, it is non-doing. And that's when yoga will be accessed. So we'll explore all of this. So I'm sure you all know that, there are 2 shlokas which we are referring to. If you don't understand Sanskrit or Hindi, doesn't matter. I will translate it. Let me actually share it, and then we can refer to it, and then we will get into a self-inquiry. In silence, we will get all our answers, not really speaking. But just to give you a context, let me share this. So the first shloka talks about yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Okay, so exact translation is yoga is the stilling or the cessation of the fluctuations or gratifications of mind. Our mind is this field, and now there are thought forms, there are stories, there are identities, there are beliefs, and they start cooking up, stories. And then from this, in one field, if we focus, we may become this. Great inventions are done like this, but great worries are also created within our mind like this. So it is a two-edged sword. So mind is a beautiful instrument. There's no problem with the mind. But, Patanjali has written it like this. Now, what we'll do is, through our self-inquiry, we will actually see that when we don't go behind the gratifications of mind, the stories of the mind, and we turn backwards and see the source of the mind, what happens? Okay? So with that, what we'll do is we'll stop sharing. Let's prepare for our first self-inquiry. Let's close our eyes. And stay as it is, the way we are. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to add anything. We don't have to reduce anything, just the way we are. Our mind is like this ocean, wide, boundless, infinite. The reason I'm saying this is because sitting wherever you are right now, if I say Eiffel Tower or if I say Taj Mahal, your mind can literally take you there. Just go to the direct experience of your mind and see what happens when I say that the mind has infinite possibilities. Wherever you are, you can be in any other space within your mind through your thoughts. You can think, you can visualize. You can even visualize the blue ball called Earth. Literally, if you allow your mind to just think of how the Earth would look like if you go out and see it from the galaxy. Let the visuals come in your sight as you have closed your eyes. This is the sight within. You're in the space watching the Earth. Now for most of you, you would have understood that mind can visualize, think, and literally have infinite possibilities. It's a beautiful instrument. But it is an instrument. And what happens when the instrument drives us? When our identity is driven by the mind? And that to such a powerful instrument which has got infinite possibility. And this is what sage Patanjali was talking about. He said yoga, the stillness, the union with everything is there when we let the gratifications of the mind be as it is, and we don't go with every thought which arrives. So in a way, we let the mind do whatever it wants, but we stay as the larger possibility, as the source through which the mind is getting operated. We are the boundless source which has got an instrument called mind. Though mind has huge possibilities, but it is emerging through us. Go to your direct experience and see for yourself. Are you emerging from your mind, or is your mind emerging from you? Let's stay in silence for a few moments. As you see and explore, whatever is your answer, there's no right or wrong. Look at the insight or evidence when you go to your direct experience. Are you coming out of your mind, or your mind is coming through you? It's an instrument, or you are the one at the front of the mind. So this is what Yoga Sutras are pointing towards. Let the mind be like this vast content library with several stories. One story could be of you, the person, identity. Another story could be your childhood memory. Another story could be your future possibility. And thousands of stories like information stored. And then there is ability to analysis, logic, all of that. But all of that is just there. If you're aware, who is this which is aware? And now, become the spaciousness in which the head space in which or through which all the thoughts, feelings, emotions are popping up. But you don't become any thought, you don't become any feeling, you don't become any sensation. You become the spaciousness in which all of these are appearing and disappearing. Be this expansive, boundless space. We're not trying to change anything, not trying to stop. This is not even meditation. And if there is a feeling of me, my mind, my thoughts, my past, my future, investigate this me. Is this me just a thought, a belief? Or this me is much larger than any thought? It is larger than the mind. It is larger than the body. Let this me see itself. Go to the direct experience of the feeling of this me, I. Let the thoughts be there, no change. Do you find this I, me? Where does he or she live? In the head? Don't take the words as it is. Go to the direct experience of your head. Where do you reside in the head? Now, for the next 2 minutes, think as if that you are an ocean, a huge, infinitely deep ocean. And the mind is like the surface, the waves. Some waves are big, like tsunami. Some waves are small, like the waves on the shore. Some waves are fast, some waves are slow. These are the gratifications of the mind. But ocean at the bottom is still. That's why the sea divers, the ocean divers beneath the sea see the beauty. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. When the movements or the gratifications of the mind, there is some cessation. Yoga is there. Similarly, as we leave the mind as it is, this ocean, the top, we go deeper and be the being, the silence. We are one with everything. Now for the next 2 minutes, be the silence, the stillness. See if within you there's anything which is uncomfortable with the silence. It would be for sure the wave at the top. Sink down to the source, to the real ocean, the depth. Right now in this depth, nothing matters. Your gender, it's on the top of the ocean. Doesn't matter. Male, female, or anything else doesn't matter. Your name doesn't matter. You're single, married, it also doesn't matter. All of those labels, roles are at the top of the ocean surface. Sink into the deeper essence. That is yoga. The wave is not one with all the species of the ocean, but the ocean is, the water is. Be the water, which is ocean as well as the wave. Silence is not the absence of noise. Silence is the space in which noise appears and disappears. Just the way waves appear and disappear. And in a way, waves are not separate from the ocean. Our thoughts are not separate from the knowing. They are both the same. And this is non-duality. Okay, with that, whenever you feel like, whenever you are okay, gently, very, very gently. It's not that we are coming out of a meditation. Take it very lightly. You can open your eyes. Wonderful. We are done with our first inquiry. I just wanted to know, because it was a long session, what was your experience? If you could just type in the chat. Just one line. Anything which comes to you naturally. It could be also that you could not follow it. Please write it. Thank you. I'm waiting for more responses, but I'll start reading. Peace, wonderful, almost floating in peace, calmness. Wonderful session, felt the vast emptiness. Exactly this is pointed as yoga. Union. Right? This is yoga, this is silence, this is stillness. And it doesn't mean that there are no noises. People have these ideas that mind should be completely stopped. When they hear this shloka, cessation of mind, complete stop. Heart beats. We don't have any problem. When the heart beats, it tuk, tuk. But we are not going like this with the heart. Why are we going bonkers with our mind? That is the issue. Thought takes us there and we go with it. Another thought takes us here and we go with it. If we just leave the mind like the heart and just stay with the knowing. Yoga is here. Okay? asks. I want to ask which yoga you practice and are you in any community? Okay. So I've learned various yogas. One is Hatha Yoga, which I've learned and practiced for last 12-13 years. Yeah, 12-13 years. However, the yoga I'm talking about right now is more like the essence of yoga coming from Advaita, Kashmir Shaivism. Right? So yeah, I do practice Hatha Yoga. But then all of these paths are leading to the one spaceless spaciousness which is within us, right? So yeah, to just answer you, yeah, that's what I focus. Raj Yoga is also, yeah, I mean, all of these are very connected, right? Raj Yoga is absolutely going to the meditative practice, right? And from that space, experiencing the union. So I don't it's very difficult for me right now to associate myself with any sort of practice. Um, but I totally get, the Raj Yoga bit. Okay. Okay, let's proceed and we'll take more questions in next 5-10 minutes. Thank you. Now this is where the interesting thing comes. Okay. Now, Patanjali sage has said something else also. He said, Tada drushtu swarupe vastanam. Okay, which means in English, then the seer abides in its own true nature. What does it mean? I let you just this information sink in within your mind, within your being. Then the seer abides in its own true nature. Now look at this. It's, he could have written he or she, or being, in those eras everyone was writing man, so he could have written he. He has written abides in its own true essence. So it's literally a genderless, the seer abides in its own true nature. Now we all experienced this, okay, just now, didn't we? When the seer abides in its own essence, and and then he said, once the yoga, when the cessation of mind happens, which means we are not going after the mind, we let the mind as it is, and we become the depth of the ocean. We are not just the wave, we become the depth of the ocean. That is when the seer abides in its own true essence. Okay? Beautiful. Now what we'll do is, we will ask one of the master, we've trained him for a short meditation on this shloka 3, which is Tada drishti swarupe swasthanam. So we'll do the same thing as we were doing. Okay, we have to just close our eyes and just give me a minute. First I want to check whether you are able to listen to it or not.
Hi Ashwin, good to see you again. We can keep.
Can you listen? Okay, great. Hi Sam. I want to do a self-inquiry for 10 minutes, a non-dual self-inquiry, on the third shloka from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Can you please take me through a self-inquiry on the third sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutra?
Beautiful choice, Ashwin. That third sutra points so simply to resting as the seer itself rather than what is seen. Let's meet Master Advait, who will guide the practice.
Welcome. I'll guide you. When the mind becomes quiet, the seer stands as itself, effortless and already present. Let the body settle now and gently close the eyes, as if you are allowing everything to be just as it is. Notice the body is an appearance. Sensations come and go, yet something is calmly aware of them. Rest as that simple knowing before any thought of who you are. Now include sounds, near and far. Let hearing happen by itself, and notice the same quiet awareness knows each sound and remains when the sound fades. Sounds do not disturb the seer. They only pass through it, like ripples through open space, leaving no trace. Bring attention to the breath. Feel it moving without controlling it. Is the breath happening in you, or are you happening as the knowing of the breath? Let sensations, breath, and sounds be the vrittis, the movements. Stay as the unmoving seer, the stillness in which movement is known. Allow the inquiry. Without reaching for an answer, ask quietly, what is it that is aware right now? Can the seer be seen as an object, or only known as knowing itself? If a thought says, I am this body, or I am this mind, notice that too is seen. What remains when every seen thing is allowed to come and go? Stay as the seer, just for a moment. Then gently feel the body again and open the eyes, knowing the seer was never not here.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. So it is all about being the essence and not just the surface level. In the surface level, we are lost. It's like the tool. We have got this beautiful car which has got infinite possibility. But the source of that car has to be us. We know where to drive. If we were to go to, let's say, Bombay, and the car drives towards Delhi, or if we were to go to Paris and the car drives towards London, what is going to happen? So the instrument has pretty much taken over as our main identity, and that is the reason we are not seeing who we are, the seer. And that's what Patanjali has been talking about. I hope you all were able to experience. Questions will always be there that, okay, when I sit for self-inquiry or meditation, this shift is there. But in life, the instrument takes over. The thoughts take over. Right? nothing wrong, the more and more you keep coming back to this space, especially in ordinary moments, because in intense moment mind is absolutely gonna go and take over. But in simple moments, when you're sipping the tea, the cup of tea, when you're just sitting and watching the bird, and especially when you can take retreats. Retreat doesn't mean that you have to join on a Zoom, go to an ashram. You can have a retreat life where you can always retreat from the experience and just watch. Let's say you're sitting in the doctor's line and waiting for your appointment or turn. The mind can go all over the place. It can spin stories, it can make, it can crib about sitting and waiting. But in all of that, can you just sit behind and watch? The spaciousness. So likewise, if we bring this, again, the shift from you being the mind and the spaciousness is like a divine or graceful accident. I always say this because with our doing, we can never be there because this is who we are. But this turning of mind and relating more to the spaciousness is who we are, and it will unfold for us in a unique way. Because if there was a written method or practice, let's say Patanjali has written this, so now everyone should be awakened in a way. But it's not possible, to be honest, right? So many people have been talking, writing books. It's not possible because we all are unique and it will unfold. Okay, with that, if there are any questions, I think we've already completed an hour, but next 10-15 minutes let's spend. With open eyes, it's challenging. With content of experience, we become mind. Yeah, absolutely. So with open eyes, what really happens is, when we open our eyes, the objects, are seen, right? So we lose the seeing of our mind. When we close, we are seeing the mind. We can see the mind. Thought is traveling, sort of thought which is unnecessary, or some thought which is taking us to the future. One thought is taking backside in the past. When we open our eyes, that seeing ability goes away. So because we are seeing everything, that is why this happens, and it's very natural. More and more we become the seer. Then whether eyes are closed or whether eyes are open, doesn't matter. Closed, open, doesn't matter. We become the seer. Right now what's happening is objects have more power than us because we are in a way relating more as a mind. When we become the source of the mind, doesn't matter. So you're right, Mukesh, and that's a very valid thing to happen. As I said, the compute capacity of seeing reduces internally because we have opened one of the sense. That's when in Patanjali Yoga Sutra there is a amazing technique called pratyahara. Pratyahara means turning the senses inwards, which means even when your eyes are open, your seeing is also happening inwards. So as I'm seeing you right now, can I also see what's happening within my mind? When I'm seeing something, can I also see within my mind, when I'm listening something, can I also see within my mind, is there some, my biases are coming up, right? So that way, pratyahara is, I think, pratyahara, dharna, dhyana, fourth or fifth limb of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. You can read about it. Maybe it can help. Okay, anything else? Any other question? Any sharing? Feel free to unmute your mic also if you feel like. Or type in the chat if you
Shin,
yeah.
आई हैव आस्क्ड यू फॉर दैट टाइम ना, उस समय मैंने आपसे पूछा था, तो उसके
Right.
बाद में मुझे एक चैलेंज मतलब फील हुआ, पर्टिकुलरली वेन एवर आई एम जस्ट डे टू डे एक्टिविटी, you know, I have become that activity. Instead of that, that is a practice. What you said, you have to become like what you have said in this. This is not actually happening.
Mm.
तो ऐसा लग रहा है ना कि that drive, that person drive, personal drive, yeah, that activity of becoming something which is at the background, at the conditioning part of it, becomes prevailing, it comes at the surface. And फिर mind क्या बोलता है यार, then you are not doing your duties up to date in
Right.
business, in family life, अगर if I become passive and become an observer and would like to work in that area. At that point, I'm becoming little मतलब confused कि how to basically handle those type of
Yeah.
that impulses.
Sure. No, great question. I think this is faced by everyone who goes through this path. If I become the observer and I'm not the doer, then I am also father, I am also businessman, I am also, an employee or whatever roles we are playing. Then I am becoming a passive person. I'm not an active person,
Right.
right? And this is one of the huge obstacle. I want to invite actually you and everyone to see this person which we are talking about, which is active or passive. If the person himself or herself is just, an appearance in a moment. For example, I'm speaking right now. So Ashwin is the speaker. Now, the moment this stops, I move out. I'm no more a speaker. I'm a father. I'm a husband, depending upon what. And once they sleep, I'm no more a father, no more a husband. I am probably someone who's sitting on the couch and watching Netflix or Prime, right? So I'm the viewer of the OTT. So when we start seeing ourselves in the moment playing, and that's why in many spiritual traditions they said, stop taking yourselves very seriously, too seriously. When we stop taking ourselves too seriously, what they mean is continuous seriousness. Serious in the moment, yes, right? So when you have to take the decisions, you are serious. You're not like, but you are also seeing that, okay, this is a role which I'm playing in this moment. It is very, very important, let's say, to negotiate a deal and get the best outcome. But you are also seeing that it brings more power, because it's not about being passive. It gives you this possibility that, okay, I am not just this deal, I am this, but at this moment this is playing this role. So the power comes from being awareness playing this role of a businessman, something like that. So you're not diminished, you're actually you're drawing the power. And one more thing is, society has conditioned us to be always, con-
Aggrandize.
hypnotize and aggrandize and things like that. Can we go to the direct experience? We don't have to take one more belief called spirituality or non-duality. Can we go to our direct experience and see where is my body in stress when it is trying to take control, or when we leave? We all know as sorry, we all know those who are parents, or I'm sure we all are kids to someone if we are not parent. When the parents try to control, are parents at peace, or they are at stress? We know this either through our personal experience of parenting, or we have seen our parents if we are not parents. So it's exactly like that, the moment these roles and thoughts and feelings, we take them as our children, which means, okay, they've come out of us, like, I have to do this, this is a role I'm playing, but I don't do it with control, I do it with a lot of abundance. That is what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Ashwin. Thanks. Thanks.
Most welcome. Okay, great. Okay, it's been almost more than an hour. Thank you so much. Anything to share? you can write in the chat. If not, it's fine, we can call it a day. The most important thing today is, okay, thank you, Auntie. The most important thing today, is that the world is very objective, and it is the way, the awareness, consciousness, or the total one reality is playing through. There's nothing wrong with anything. When we relate ourselves as an object, that is where the problem is. Objective world has no problem, the material world has no problem, earning money has no problem, having a family has no problem. Problem is that one seed where we become an object. I am this Ashwin, something like that. So then this Ashwin will have problem, because instead of being the subject, I have just become the object. And then this next step is to see that subject object is not two. It is like, you've seen that movie theater. I was just telling Mukesh the other day, if you go to a theater, a cinema, uh, you know and you're watching a movie, on the screen there will be pretty violent scenes, there would be joy, there would be murders, all of that, in a murder mystery movie. And you're lost, we all are lost in that content. But when we turn back, where is this content coming from? We'll just see the projector and the light. So actually the content is nothing but the light rays falling from the projector, right? So the what we are seeing on the screen is also the light. There's nothing, there's no two, right? So this is what we are talking about. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Next, yeah, thank you so much. Next week we might not have a session because yeah, I'm shifting home. So maybe after that we'll have a session, but we'll share something for your own practice. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.